So this is an update on Project mBRIDGE. So let's go back to what Project mBRIDGE is. It is a shared payment infrastructure that uses CBDC, in particular wholesale CBDC, of the participating central banks to achieve instant cross-border payments. So having listened to the panel just now, a lot of the concepts that they talked about, wholesale CBDC, one platform, interoperable by design, settlement finality, two-tier, atomic settlement, that's what we're seeking to achieve with the mBRIDGE.
The core system does not use XRP, right? We're using the same technology that is with the XRP ledger. The token would be the CBDC, right? So the central bank would actually create their own token, a digital euro, digital dollar, whatever the market is, and that becomes a digital asset.
As the native coin.
The native coin, yeah. Now, where XRP could come into play potentially is when you're looking at cross-border CBDC. So when you have a digital dollar and you have a digital, real, or digital pound, you obviously need to have some way to interact cross-border. Yeah. So I think the BIS called this a multi-CBDC model. One of the ideas is you use a sort of a neutral bridge currency to go from one to the other, similar to the model I explained earlier, with our on-demand liquidity. But the core offering really is not XRP. There's no XRP involved. It's the native token is the CBDC.
The mBRIDGE has been built on three key pillars. We always thought it is critical to not just think about technology, but to think about legal and governance. And we thought about them in parallel to thinking about the technology. It is often that you develop a technology and then you realize you're missing the legal and the governance aspect. We did not want it to be there, so we have a parallel process. So let me elaborate on each of these three tiles. So the first one is the technology. It is, as you might know by now, if you've read the reports, it is a decentralized network. That means it is built on distributed ledger technology, and each of the central banks is operating a node. It is open sourced to the participant central banks. That means that the participant central banks each can check the code, penetration test the code, review and audit the code. It is Ethereum virtual machine or EVM compatible. What this means is that any smart contracts that are built on Ethereum become interoperable with the mBRIDGE. So let's see if at any stage these smart contracts that are being developed, for example, for automated market makers, come to the right level of maturity to be usable in a central banking context, then there is already this compatibility. The system is also ISO 20022 enabled. This is very important for new financial market infrastructures as it is the new standard. The system is privacy preserving. What that means is that every central bank only sees the transactions in its own CBDC, and that is very important. As I mentioned, the central banks are deploying the validator nodes, and each of the 4 participating central banks has deployed their validator node already. And then lastly, the commercial banks deploy ordinary nodes.
Talk to me a little bit more about that opportunity you see with central banks. What kind of conversations are you having?
Lots of conversations with lots of central banks. I think 90% or so of central banks around the world are evaluating CBDCs. We sort of view CBDCs as one of many digital currencies that will coexist in the world. So, as a company, we're talking to central banks about CBDC. We're also talking to commercial banks about what they will do with CBDCs. We're also talking to commercial banks and other institutions about stable coins. And then, of course, we're renowned for being in the crypto space. So we view all of these different digital currencies coexisting, and we'd like to be involved in all of them.
What clients do you have right now?
So right now we have several clients. We've announced 4. Today, actually, in parallel with this announcement, we announced that we're working with the HKMA in Hong Kong on building out a real estate tokenization platform with CBDC. We also have 3 other projects, one with the Central Bank of Montenegro, and then 2 others. One is with the Central Bank, the Royal Monetary Authority in Bhutan, and then the final is with Palau, which is republic. It doesn't have actually a central bank, so they're having, we're working with them to issue a government-issued stablecoin.
You just mentioned 4 jurisdictions that are very different from each other. Talk to me a little bit about why you're choosing to work with these governments first.
Well, as I said, we are working with some others that we can't talk about yet.